What's that? Let's start with the public hearing. Housing Choice Voucher 5-year annual PHA plans 2025-20.
Okay, that is all right.
Anybody signed up to speak?
No.
Nobody's listening.
Yeah. Nope, I have no one up for that one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
I think he came to speak on it.
Second it.
Is anybody here for the first public hearing?
Did you come to speak on the,
Housing.
I did, Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Okay.
Close it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Mastriani from Gem Inc. Central Office, Section 8. We administer your Housing Choice Voucher Program. We've been doing that since 2019. So every 5 years, HUD says we need to do a little bit of planning because this is a smaller program. And so we've done a PHA. That's the first reason I'm here. The second reason I'm here is because there's some new regulations that are going to go into effect in July, and we need to allow the public to be made aware of those changes as well. And so I figured I would like to do this all once so we didn't have to have two public hearings. And then finally, third reason I'm here is just to do a little check-in so you get to see me every once in a while and understand the size and the scope of your program. And so the Housing Choice Voucher Program, if you're not familiar, is a program that helps the elderly, the disabled, and low-income people afford safe, sanitary, and decent housing, and that is achieved by subsidizing a portion of their rent based on their income. And so you've been provided with a copy of the plan. I've also given you a copy of the summary statistics, and just a couple of highlights from the statistics. We are helping 32 families right now, and the average subsidy is $459 per month. On the backside of those pages, you can see what we've been provided by the federal government and what we've spent. So in calendar year 2024, we were provided $166,596, and we spent $166,606. So we overspent by $10, which I told the finance team, good work. So that's really all I have to say. If there's any questions about the program or the plan.
thank you for speaking.
What were the changes?
To raise it by $10.
No.
Hearing changes.
Oh, the changes? So the changes that are coming up are for HOTMA is what it's called. And the main change is whether or not people who have assets of over $100,000 can participate in the program. Right now, there is no asset cap, and so HOTMA places an asset cap on it. So people who have over $100,000 cannot participate.
Is that individual or joint?
That would be for the
Like
family.
household?
For the family, for the household.
For everyone living in it? Like unemancipated children and everyone, or just the
No, it would just be
primary?
adults. Yep. And I can tell you that, so in total, we administered about 5,000 families, and we have under 100, maybe 50, who meet this criteria. I would be surprised if there's anyone in this program that meet the criteria. That's really the main change for HOTMA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second,
Second.
favor? Opposed, carried.
Right, required that.
Conditional use in C3 zone, New York State approved schools and private. Anybody signed up to speak?
No, but we do have the one change that came from Mark Mikens. He wanted to include public and private schools.
All right, so here on our thing is the private crosswalk. We want to
Correct.
include private, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a motion with the corrections to close the public hearing.
I'll second it. Third it.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing local law 1 of 2025 video conference policy.
I thought it was well written.
I have Joanne Klepetar.
I'm going to pass.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to the January 2nd, 2025 Wilton Town Board meeting. Happy New Year to all. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Supervisor Lamb.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor McCachran.
Here.
Councilman Bogardus.
Here.
Councilwoman Callaghan. Here. Councilman O'Connor. Excuse me.
He's not acting his age. Anybody signed up to speak?
Yes, Joanne Klepitar. I did.
Joanne Klepitar, Parkhurst Road. I was wondering with the new committees being appointed in January, whether you've given consideration to the short-term rentals. I know it's been talked about for a long time, and I wonder if there's anything that's been done about it. We had some very passionate residents here about 2 years ago, and I'm sure any of them might want to step up. I have rentals in town. I would volunteer to help on the committee. I think it's something that's long overdue, and I was just wondering whether the town board is planning to assign a committee to work on that. Thank you.
At the end of the state's legislative session, they passed a state short-term.
Difficulty hearing.
Do you want to relay it?
I don't have my hearing aids in, so
That's okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
At the end of the legislative session, I believe it was June or July, the state passed short-term rental law that we will have to follow. So it's kind of been pushed to the side a little bit while we find out what exactly is included in that. There's going to be a statewide registry so that they can collect sales and occupancy tax. The issue the town most likely is going to run into, which is where we may need a committee, is that now a residential unit has become commercialized in a residential area. So we're kind of tapping the brakes a little bit while we wait to see what the state comes back with.
Okay. Thank you.
But it hasn't gotten forgotten. Hasn't been forgotten. You're welcome. Actually, we got a thing from Airbnb in the mail today, letting us know how to proceed. Thanks, yeah, very much so.
Of course, they're from California.
Virginia.
I thought mine said California.
Oh, yours, mine says Virginia.
All right, our 2025
She's from Virginia.
resolutions 1 through 67. Does anybody want to, excuse me, anybody want a separate vote on anything?
I need to recuse myself from 39 and 42 regarding Adirondack Trust. But other than that,
Make a motion, we pass it with Aaron's recusals.
I'll I can second that,
They increase you.
With your recusals.
my recusals.
I'll second your motion, Jeff.
You third it.
Did you already second?
With your recusals.
Yourself.
I did, from 2 of them, I asked if I could.
67.
With her recusals.
Just the filtering women.
Watch yourself.
Resolutions 1 through 38. Somebody want to make a motion?
Where are these ones at?
We have to
We
split
just
them?
do 1 through 67?
Do we have to split them?
Oh, because you're recused.
He's going to split.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, I'll make a motion for 1 through 38.
Second?
Is that with your recusals? I don't know what
Yes.
numbers you had.
39.
All right.
So I'll do 1 through 38.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution
No.
39.
You're just recusing yourself from number 39.
Just 39
this
and
time around.
42, yep.
Okay, I make a motion, we pass resolution 39.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 40 and 41.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Resolution 42.
Recuse.
Make the motion we pass.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Resolutions 43 to 67.
Make a motion to pass 43 to 67.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you. Approved, December's approved minutes. Somebody want to make a motion?
Tomorrow. Even though I did it via Zoom, I can still vote on that? Or technically
We didn't have a
no,
policy in place then, so technically no.
so recuse.
I'll make a motion we approve the pending minutes.
Oh, wait,
I can't either.
Dwayne can't either. So
No,
we're
we
gonna
can
have to
vote
wait.
on the minutes from last
Right.
month,
They're
right?
just pending minutes. You got the
And I hate to
minutes.
burst anybody's bubble, but there's actually no requirement for town board to approve meeting minutes.
Oh,
So
We're still gonna do it.
you can
Oh,
vote if
okay.
you want, it's fine.
okay. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I just-
Margot, you're up with your report, Wilton Wildlife. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Almost forgot it.
Glad it's 2025.
You know that thing's not gonna cooperate.
I don't know, is there,
Your remote stick with
Pen?
side there.
that real quick?
It takes a second to warm.
So Mike can spend mine.
Good job. We'll get the lights. One of those switches.
Why you walk around, give me a one in the office.
I learned.
John, did you sign that one?
Done, you make copies of that for everybody?
No, I didn't. I was just
Okay.
reading.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. I am happy to be able to be here to do our fourth quarter report, which is, I said, it's sort of a wrap-up of the year, and be able to sort of looking ahead to next year, or I guess, well, this year, it's 2025. So I wanted to start with the update on the Larry Gordon Outdoor Education Center, because there's lots of wonderful updates, and I'm happy that Mike is here, so I can take a fuss of him in person for the highway department, because they did a great job. They went over and right before the snow, got the accessible pathways in place. And I'll show you a picture of that in the next slide. So I'll just quickly go through. The LA group developed the accessible pathway plans, both for north and south. We decided to implement the north side first, because that connects the parking lot and all the buildings where we're doing the phase one of the renovations. And there were a couple of questions that we had about the south side around the dining hall that we will resolve next, and we can always, we'll go back and do that later. We are also really excited that facilities and grounds, Scott and Roy have been over. I got the new guy, we always just call the new guy. Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. We're working over at the Welcome Cabin, getting a lot of the work underway. So a lot of those materials, everything had already been purchased. And so they were just waiting, I guess, to have some downtime, which they finally got at the end of December, which is wonderful. And so I'll have some pictures of that too. And then on our end, we're working on getting the exhibits and other planning planning going, and we were able to apply for a special funding program through New York State. The legislature put a pot of money together, $20 million, that was only available to organizations that were already receiving funding through the New York State ZBGA, Zoos, Botanical Garden, Arboretum program. And since we get operating support from ZBGA, we were able to apply to this capital fund, and we got $100,000. I'm waiting to hear, I don't know what we can apply that to, but it's all capital improvements that weren't included in the initial grant that we got from New York State. So those are other things. So I'm going to wait, I won't report yet till we know what they say out of the grant. We put in for, I think, almost $400,000 worth in that grant, knowing that we wouldn't get it all. But anyway, we were excited to get $100,000, so I'll keep you posted on that one. So here you can see the highway department at work getting started. They were using mostly existing pathways were already there, that were dirt, that were narrows, sort of more like goat tracks, and then widening them to, I mean, Ryan, you can speak to that. It has to be 6 feet wide in order to meet ADA accessibility.
Minimum 5, but yeah, 6 foot was easier for construction, so.
Yeah. So again, with the site plan that the LA group developed, we went and laid them out with flags, and then his team came with all kinds of equipment and did a great job. So you can kind of see it underway, and then you can see those beautiful, smooth pathways that people will be able to use to get from the parking lot to the different buildings as part of the accessibility. And again, the materials were donated by D.A. Collins, which is, again, really wonderful. And so this is inside the welcome cabin. So you can see they were redoing the roof trusses. Again, Ryan can probably speak more eloquently than I can. So taking out all these lots and lots of cross pieces and adding different trusses up higher to sort of open up the space and keeping it structurally sound. Okay.
The roof rafters were offset, so they put in new collar ties.
That's what she said.
That's what
she said. I thought I heard that, yeah.
And then because it is literally a log cabin, the walls are those logs, so there's no insulation. So what they're doing is framing out space that then insulation will go in, and they'll redoing the wiring, and we'll get a heating system in there. So all of that is what's going on. It's all very exciting. So moving from the Larry Gordon Outdoor Education Center, though that's certainly that's the wow there, that, you know, in addition to all this other stuff, we're also getting that center going. You can see all the numbers, and you have that in your report there too, you know, that we did 157 free programs serving over 1,700 people, 196 in-school field trip, after school, and other group programs, serving 3,500 people, 25 different community events that we participated in. So you can see all of the different numbers there. 64 different summer camp programs. That includes all of the Gavin Park programs that we do, and then other summer camps that we visit around the region, or they come to us with field trips. Again, I have pretty pictures to show you, so you'll see some of the kids and people enjoying the different programs. So, on this graphic, it says over 10,000, and then on the graph that I gave you, you'll notice the number's a little different. When I did that report for you, that I went in and realized I left out a couple of categories of numbers. So it looks like our attendance is probably just shy of 11,000. For those are direct contacts where we're working with people. This doesn't include anyone who uses the trails or comes and sits by the pond and has lunch, or goes for a walk with their dog, or takes their kids with a stroller. So those are other users, and at this point we don't have any kind of system to capture those numbers. So these are just direct service numbers where we're like running a program or something with people. So, so just under 11,000, and these are the different kinds of categories. So if you add up like the school groups with the summer camps and the other groups and after-school programs, so more than half of what we're doing is working with schools and groups. And then public programs, outreach and community events, working with the different volunteers and different administration, a lot of meetings, Earth Day essay contests, those kinds of things. So it gives you an idea of kind of how the breakdown is. And then this chart shows our attendance over time, so about a decade worth of attendance there. You can see the huge drop-off from COVID, and so we've come back from that. I was looking at the numbers today, and I think the biggest change is in that 2019, we have that big, thick blue bar up towards the top. There were a lot more community events that we were going to where you reach sort of a lot of people. So if you make that blue bar a little bit shorter, we're much closer to being at about that same level of attendance. So we're coming back from after COVID. So again, just to highlight some of the different kinds of things, if you had come by when programs were going on, these are the different kinds of programs with field trips, public programs taking place at Camp Saratoga, around the campfire area, by the pond, out on the trails. Different of the community outreach, where we go and we take different activities to different community events around the area, so people get familiar with what we're doing, and we share it to people who may not be familiar with Wilton Wildlife or with the wonderful resource that the town maintains at Camp Saratoga to be able to get people there. And then the summer camp programs, I chose all the great Wilton Rec programs. You can see the kids came as part of field trips, so they came on the buses, they did the pond programs, they were doing different programs at Camp Saratoga, but also every week we were there for the whole summer doing programs for all of the different grade levels of the kids at Gavin Park.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
And then traveling programs is where we go into classrooms or different community centers, and we bring specific programs, the after-school programs, where we go in and teach a lesson and teach them about, I'm looking at the different programs here, there's parts of a plant, they do a lab, they're learning about photosynthesis in relation to the wild blue lupin and how that helps provide the habitat for the Cardinal blue butterfly. I think this bottom corner, they're dissecting owl pellets to see what creatures the owl eats, and then learning about the different mammals that live in the Saratoga Sand Plains and around our region. So that was last year, but then, we're full steam into 2025 now, so we've got a lot of upcoming public programs. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more than this dusting of snow that's happening right now. So our cross-country ski and snowshoe rentals will start as soon as we have enough snow on the trails. And then again, our usual series of public programs, all of which are free. We just got another grant. Last year we got a grant from Common Roots Foundation. This year we got a grant from the Adirondack Trust Company Community Fund that underwrites the cost of the snowshoe rentals. So anyone who doesn't have snowshoes can participate in any of these workshops or programs that take place on snowshoes, so that all of the programs are free with that underwriting. So you get an idea, there's a whole range of things. Some are for preschoolers, some are for school age, for families, retirees, seniors. So we really try to reach as broad an audience of different segments of the population with our program. So I believe that covers the fourth quarter, and then looking ahead into the first quarter. And we'll get the full report up at the end of the first quarter.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Thank you for a great job you do there.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate, as always, we appreciate the support of Wilton town board, and certainly showing you the slides there with the work that Scott and Roy and Andrew are doing, and what Mike has done. You know, the work at Camp Saratoga wouldn't be happening without the support of the town, and we're really excited to be able to move that project forward and hopefully be able to, maybe by the summer, we'll be able to have some of that open and available for the community.
Did DEC issue the permit for grooming?
No, they don't.
You'll be
Well, I
ungroomed.
hope you get snow, but only over the top of you.
Thinking the same
Or
thing.
just miss my driveway
That's
in
right.
the office.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that permit,
We still have
so
to the
there's the two
15th.
permits that we're waiting.
Yes.
We still have to the 15th.
So, at some point. At some point.
If it snows tomorrow, we can't do it.
So the permit, so since DEC is the landowner for the land beyond the town at Camp Saratoga, beyond Camp Saratoga out into the meadows and the forest area, we have to have, we have a stewardship agreement that DEC allows us to do that grooming activity on the trails. And it used to be 6 inches of snow on the ground, and they would allow us to go out and use the grooming equipment. Then they changed it to 8 inches, and the last couple of years, we never even had 8 inches of snow, so they approved a permit, but we were never able to actually groom because we never had 8 inches of snow. The way it's written now, I put in for 6 inches again, so hopefully, you know, hopefully that it'll get approved for that, but they may, you know, exit out and say 8 inches, but it makes it really hard to be able to get out there and groom the trails, you know, because again, with the changing climate, you know, just, we don't have that many big snows anymore, so it's more little snows that accumulate, and then in between and out, so.
Or it's a 3-footer.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember that one. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
December 16th, that's when.
I just had, photo memories pop up because we were all night long.
3 plow
I was
trucks.
looking at
I
snowbanks.
think that, yeah, with that one, we couldn't groom either because we didn't have a permit yet. So again, it's like, you know, it's you know, it's the state's land and they make the rules and they have to.
I would apply for the permit in August.
Because we couldn't get the out.
They treat the trails there as the same as they do for the trails for the snowmobile clubs. And the grooming equipment for the snowmobile clubs requires a much deeper base because they're big caps and things. So this is just an ATV pulling that roller behind it, but they treat it the same. You know, any kind of grooming on the trails, I guess they treat it the same.
But people can still use it, right?
Oh, yeah, people go out.
So
and
it
use
may get packed down.
Yes.
just from
So the users pack it down, but it's not as nice as it.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But we can groom our own property, just not the state property.
Yes, but we don't have enough trail, the town doesn't have enough trail.
Maybe a short trip.
But we'll look good.
Go get an
Well, Larry had a whole plan for that, and that's the trail that goes along the road. That we could groom from the parking lot along the trail there and then go into the county land.
Right.
That was his way of, you know, if the state decided we couldn't use their trails.
Now, we can groom the county one, or do they do it themselves?
We haven't broached that with them.
Yeah, we would ask them,
We would ask them.
but they shouldn't have an issue.
Tell them afterwards. Beg for forgiveness.
Send them a thank you
Trails
note.
are really nice.
Thank you, Larry, for
I'm
doing
pretty
it.
sure they'd let us do it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I don't even have it.
Number 7, housing choice voucher, need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8, additional use in C3 zone. Need a motion.
Make the motion.
Make a motion with noting the
The private.
adjustment of private.
Right, in private.
You gotta respond to the county as well.
Yes, I did. Yep. I did. With no significant.
So John,
Yep, with the changes.
motion, I'll second it.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And private.
Local law number 1 of 2025, video conference policy. Need a motion.
So I have a comment on that. I think there might be a little bit of confusion. The local law is not the policy. The local law is authorizing video participation. The authorization for video participation, and the local law has it in Section 3, consistent with state law and the town's video conferencing policy. Those are two different things. Okay. So the local law, again, just to reiterate, the local law is authorizing video conference participation. That's what you're voting. That's what you're having a public hearing on. That's what you're voting on. The local law says in it, because it's required by state law, that the participation will be also in accordance with the town's video conferencing policy. That's what we sent you a draft of. We sent you that also. Correct. And if you're comfortable with that draft, then I would suggest that the resolution that you're about to entertain be to approve the local law, but also to approve the virtual meeting participation policy, because my changes to it are very minor. No one will question it at all.
You're not right.
What he said.
Would you say virtual participation policy?
I would suggest that the motion, if you're inclined to do this, I would suggest that the motion be to approve the virtual meeting participation policy and the local law.
I'll make that motion.
Good.
Second?
We'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Reappointment of Wilton Planning Board, Dean Colligan,
I'll recuse myself.
1/1/2025 to 12/31/2033.
Are you throwing him under the bus, or does he want it?
What?
Are you throwing him under the bus, or does he want it?
Did I tell him he was even on it? I'm not
If we say
sure.
no, he'll be home more often.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Make the motion to put him back on.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Committee reports. Anybody got anything?
Nothing.
Our
Which is good.
town controller, Maria Moran, was appointed today to the Aging Advisory Council for senior citizens, and I'd like to thank you for stepping up to the plate, offering to do that.
Thanks, Maria.
Mr. Riper, Wilton Water and Sewer Authority, Wilton Wildlife Reserve and Park and Town Trails Coordinator. There's no extra salary either. Nancy Rowley, Insurance, the Insurance Committee, Personnel Committee, Safety Review Committee. Marilyn.
Sorry.
Yeah, Marilyn. I said
It's not Maryland.
Maria Moran, Personnel Committee.
Good job, Marilyn.
No, it doesn't.
My nameplate that says Maryland.
John McCackron, Deputy Supervisor, Park and Recs Department, Zoning Review Committee. Sue's gonna make y'all a copy of this
Yes.
too. Councilman Dwayne Bogardus, Court Safety Review Committee, Are You Okay? Americans with Disabilities, Zoning Review Committee.
Emergency services, one too, right? That was in one.
What is it?
Through emergency services.
Oh, yeah. What was that called?
Emergency services review.
Emergency Services Review, Dwayne's, Councilwoman Aaron Colligan, Senior Citizen Historian and Exit 16 Committee. Councilman
And
Rayo.
short-term rental? Or is that not a thing yet?
Probably
You keep
should.
that. She can keep that.
Yeah,
You don't want it?
No.
add that in too.
Yeah, get that in there. Now, let's Ray's not here, so the rest of it,
Pile it on him.
slam.
Councilman Ray O'Connor, Highway Department, Veterans Committee, Sheriff's Department, Liaison Exit 16 Committee in Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park.
There's gotta be some more than that. Nothing
You
else?
wanna, now's the time to give them up.
Pothole assessment.
I was gonna take the night off. I thought about it, I'm like, nah. When you get thrown in everything.
What's the,
Mr. Riper, Mr. Monroe, and Councilman
Fishing area.
O'Connor will be on the Roundabout Design Committee.
still,
I will be the historian committee. Councilwoman Culligan, Highway Superintendent Mike Monroe, and Mr. Riper, Champlain Hudson Power Express.
Tell them to get the sign off of Smithford Road that's long all over the place.
All right.
fine.
I've already told them twice.
Saw a porta potty almost get blown over today.
So now
It was like,
the giant
just sitting there
sign,
tipped.
the giant sign blew
Tilted.
from one side to the other side.
Do any of you members got anything on the committees?
Do I? No, not really.
Maria, you want to give your controller's report, please?
There's just a couple of items tonight. Yeah, the first one is budget transfers. The first one in the budget transfers is moving money from our contingency account to our police and constable account to allow for spending in the internet and telephone services that we provide over the substation and mall. And then the second item is, we had talked about purchasing additional salt last week ahead of storms that were expected to happen. I increased the amount a little bit from what we had previously discussed because the purchase order that we had prior to this new one that we just set up was already expended a little bit more than what it should have been. So this will bring us to a zero sum for our budget.
Make a motion
you.
to approve both budget transfers.
In the second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. And the second item is our surplus assets that we have. We have about 12 to 15 concrete turn blankets that Scott has, and he'd like to make some room in the garage. He doesn't foresee need of using them or keeping them. But he'd like to have permission to list them on auction international.
Anyone make a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anyone make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?